I feel like in this day and age, if that came out, it would be like revealed that they are like trained to deal with actual zombies, and that would be the plot of the movie. But
that's true too. I mean, yeah, even the idea of a zombie squad like suggests the dehumanization of this is a squad to deal with like dehumanized individuals that are scumbags that need to be killed.
Like pea zombies, like people with no exactly, the disease, and there's lots of stuff like that, like in the final confrontation, they're in like this foundry where everything is like bursting flames. Like flames are shooting out everywhere, and like it's literally like hell. And this, like, of course, you always see like the church, and it's Christmas. So there's this very Manichaean sensibility of the entire thing, and they really hammer it home. Cobra in the final confrontation, he does kind of like an over the top hand to hand, like referencing kind of similar to the movie Over the Top that Stallone was in. In addition to actually being over the top, he wrestle kind of like arm wrestles him with his very aestheticized knife. Wrestling it back and forth, sweating, dripping sweat, like as there's like gouts of flame like all around them, and then he impales him on this giant like industrial crane hook, and swings him into fire to like burn him. He immolates someone else as well, literally burning out the infection, the disease.
After telling them you have the right to remain silent, and then he drops after dumping a bunch of gasoline on him, and then you have the right to remain silent, and drops a match on him and sets him on fire.
The one-liners are so poorly thought out. It's like really amazing. Like there's another great comeback where one of the evil cops tells Cobra that, or what, not, I guess they're not evil, but they're like abettors of evil. They're effectively evil because they're such liberal pussies that, they don't, they're they're not functional in terms of dealing with crime. Cobra yells at them at one point, and he tells them like, they're kind of chiding him for not following the rules or whatever, and then he says like, then we lose, and they're like, what do you mean we lose? And he's like, as long as we have to play by these bullshit rules and the criminals don't, then we lose. Like as long as we have to follow any rules or laws, as long as we don't get to behave in the exact same way as a deranged social Darwinist axe cult, then we lose.
When you think about, we talked about in Smuggler's Blues how the crack epidemic and the rise in gang violence in cities in the mid 80s was sort of used as this boogeyman kind of effect. It was used in a kind of boogeyman effect that would kind of bolster some of these attitudes that are expressed in Cobra, that there are just these fucking sickos out there, and if we're playing by our nice little liberal rules and respecting their so-called rights, what about everybody else's rights? And that is something that as we've seen, was so much of a smokescreen for the actual creation of that crime in the first place, and creating the conditions for that crime in a very direct way, that it does make you just kind of look at Sylvester Stallone's auteurish perspektive in this film and what he had to say about crime.
Yeah, he didn't want to be preachy, but
he did say in the behind the scenes that you don't want to be too over the top with it, or too heavy handed,
too preachy,
but this is I think there's a scene where he's driving out to the country.
Blue Lives Matter sermon, literally.
It is, and really, I mean, I think even your average Blue Lives Matter booster today
might find it a little psychotic. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's an evil cop in it. Yeah, because it's almost the cops suck too in a way, because they're not Blue Lives Matter enough. In the same way that after 9/11, it was the problem with the government was that they didn't want to kill Saddam Hussein enough, and they weren't. That's what was punk rock to want to kill Saddam Hussein more than George Bush. It was super bad as an extreme.
Exactly.
That, weren't free enough. They were too big. They were liberals.
George Bush gave up on trying to kill Osama bin Laden. What the hell, man?
There's another great one-liner where this, I think probably the worst one-liner in the movie, when the liberal cops tell him that he has an attitude problem, and he just says yeah, but it's just a little one. It's just like, okay, like that's, and it's like this big thing where like, he stops and like turns around, like, looks him dead in the eye and like, get ready to deliver this like big, like searing comeback. And like, that's what he comes up with. Like what, like it's not witty. It's just like, and it's like the button for the scene.
Do you want to discuss your theory that you shared with me yesterday that Cobra may in fact be autistic?
Yes, this is yes. I believe as someone with an ASD diagnosis myself, I definitely felt seen in this movie by Cobra's portrayal. This is like I think it might be like this is also sort of an example because like even though he's purportedly on the zombie squad, like after he gets out of the first scene where he's dealing with this hostage situation, like he's immediately mobbed by like liberal media who are asking if he used excessive force, and I feel like
did he really have to die, Cobra?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like like this is not like they like why would you? I mean, yeah, like he probably did because he seemed insane. Like he wasn't like cooperating with anybody. It just seems like a completely stilted situation. It seems so out of,
like, what was this fantastical world that they're portraying that was like dominated by liberals in like mid 1980s? Like it's just like today where they say like the far left like media like CNN, and it's like like are they like far left? Like
but even in Cobra's response to that, he shows like the general theme of his like inability, like his very very poor socialization.
Yes.
Because like rather than saying like no, I felt that my use of force was necessary. This is not someone who could be reasoned with. He was ranting about the new world and wanting to purge the weak, etc. He just says like I gave it everything I had. Almost like in a nonplussed way, like confused by the question. Yeah. What?
He said. He said, Cobra, did you use excessive force? I used everything I had. And just very blank affect.
He almost says it like like what do you mean? Like of course I use excessive. But yeah, and then the middle section of the movie, there's lots of evidence, such as when he's trying to parallel park, but there isn't room. So he just decides to slam his expensive muscle car into like the back of someone else's car for like no reason, and then back it up kind of needlessly and just like crash into the car behind him.
Yeah. That's the scene where he attacks. He seems to have some kind of fixation or trigger involving like Mexican individuals.
Yes,
where
he does call someone amigo.
He bumps into the car, the lowrider of like some essay, and he says, "Hey Holmes, like what the hell, man?" And I forget what he said. Like you better back off, amigo. And then like rips his shirt, like rips off his wife beater. And just like walks away. It was like very totally like unprovoked. Like Cobra just decides to, after just shooting a guy at a supermarket, he comes home and does this, but it's not like connected to that. It's not like he's still wired up. Like there's no continuity in the narrative that would suggest he's like. I mean, then he goes home, kicks his feet up, starts cleaning his gun, and starts cutting up cold pizza with scissors.
Yeah, with scissors. Well, that's like just again, to like break this down a little bit further. He walks into his apartment still wearing his sunglasses. He does not remove them. And he keeps his sunglasses on. He takes a cold frozen piece of pizza out of his fridge, and then he takes a pair of scissors and he cuts the top of the pizza off just so it's bite size. And this is like another theme that suggests Cobra's sort of arguably high functioning autism, which is that he definitely has a food thing. There's another like weird scene where like food phobia, which some of us on the spectrum have. He obviously has to eat like a very precisely cordoned off piece of pizza, but doesn't understand the idea of warming it. He also does a very bizarre thing where he keeps his gun cleaning kit in an egg carton in the fridge next to the pizza. Oh, like, he opens up the egg carton, you think he's like, is he gonna now eat eggs? Like, but no, instead is like a bunch of stuff for his like his Jaddy like submachine gun, which I guess is his weapon of choice, which he starts like, cleaning and cranking, while he's sitting there alone in his apartment, which is like a pretty nice, if sterile apartment, no like real decoration. He's really got a single life. Like
many characters in like 80s, cop movies or thrillers. Yeah, he has a beautiful like top floor like great view apartment in Venice, like right on, or maybe it's Santa Monica, but it's like right there on the beach.
Yeah.
Right on the beach, and so any cop with like a normal salary apparently.
Despite like them always saying like at the end of the movie after he saves the day, he asks like, "Could I get my car repaired?" And they're like, "Sorry, Cobra, it's not in the budget." But apparently, he has this amazing salary where he can afford like this beachfront apartment. But then he starts watching TV, and there's a Christmas commercial that plays, a Toys R Us.
Yeah, Toys R Us cartoon.
That's another theme is toys, and this is like a little bit far out from the whole toyetic revolution, I think, where everything was about marketing toys. But there's like continual references to toys, like the guns are, I think, associated in many ways with toys. Even at the end, that same thing, the cop who offers to get him whatever he needs in response to him saving the day, but then can't afford to have his car fixed. He says like, "I'll take care of your toy for you," like referring to your gun. So I feel like the whole there's a conflation between the Christmas toys and the guns. But anyway, so the Toys R Us song is playing as he's pinning his gun, but only when it cuts to like a news report about the Night Slasher does Stallone finally like remove his sunglasses to watch the television, and he's just like kept them on inside like this entire time. Another bizarre thing that he does is he always keeps an unlit match in his mouth.
Yeah. But he doesn't smoke, of course. I don't think.
Of course, no. Yeah. He's a freak about health, and that's another thing. Like,
he chides Gonzalez all the time about eating junk food.
Yes, exactly. He's definitely got a food hang up, and there's another scene where, he's with Brigitte Nielsen, this like beautiful woman who, for whatever reason, is interested in him. This is a scene I think is probably like the best evidence for Cobra's autism, possibly in addition to the opening scene where he cites a bunch of statistics that I guess he has memorized about crime, about how many rapes there are a day in America or something. But there's a scene where after he and Brigitte Nielsen have escaped the city, to go into hiding in some unspecified foundry town, they're in a restaurant, and Cobra picks up off the counter like a ceramic burger or something that I guess is like for decoration, and he kind of like very childishly like waves it in Brigitte Nielsen's face like, "Here's your order," like she's like kind of like indulgently laughs at him, or like actually is charmed by this because this is all Stallone's Fantasia, and he's like, "It's a family size meal," like making this weird joke. But then she has some French fries, some crinkle fries, and she uses a lot of ketchup on them. Which that's a big no-no if you have SD.
He does not like viscous food products.
Yeah, he's upset. He's upset. He's not happy. He's like deeply like revolted by what she's doing with her French fries.
Your fries.
Yeah, exactly. Like no, she goes like, he goes, "Do you have a life preserver?" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "'Cause your French fries drowning." Like being really passive aggressive about her food. And there's all these like lingering shots like on the ketchup on the fries, and like Cobra's disgusted face, like while he's like basically on a date with this like gorgeous like 6 foot tall like superwoman model. He can't handle it because of the French fries, and the ketchup. So I think his fixation with guns, his love of stats, eating pizza with scissors.
I just remembered where we first mentioned. Where we first mentioned Cobra was because there's a sequence in The Target Is Your Brain, the Soviet documentary, which we even postulated, like, did Cobra steal this montage where it's like, in America, there are like 10,000 rapes a month or something like that, like 30,000 murders a month, or, et cetera, as a bunch of bullets are being shot through an American flag. And there's a very similar
Cobra
opening.
Does shoot at the audience at the beginning. The gun just like shoots at us.
It's kind of a very erotic, almost Angarian kind
also
of...
Also accusatory, like, why are you shooting me, like, first thing? Like, why am I being shot? Like, I'm the disease.
That's true. But it does, it does have Cobra quoting a bunch of crime statistics, like, presumably off the top of his head. So he has incredible memorization abilities. And is very into the numbers of, he's like, in America, there's 10,000 rapes a day, an armed robbery every 7 minutes.
Exactly.
Sorry, it's hard to
it's hard to
get the amount of gravel.
Sometimes with the Alex Jones voice, it's like really brutal. Like
For access to the full-length episode, subscribe to the Hour of Frequency at patreon.com/subliminaljihad.